Roar! I am so angry. Roar! I can't believe him. How could he do this? Roar! Lazar, my friend, what bothers you so? I have never seen you this angry for as long as I have known you. Roar! That cousin of mine, Bunsen, he's in town today, just for the day, and he promised me he would stop by for a visit. I haven't seen him for years, and I was looking forward to this day. Bunsen just called. He said he couldn't make it over. Did he give a reason for canceling your plans at the last minute? Yeah, we were going to the beach together. Instead, he wants to head over to his friend's house and listen to music. I slammed the phone down on him as soon as he said that. Indeed, his reasoning is poor. Family members have a duty to keep their promises. Perhaps, Lazar, if you settle down a little and think this through, this situation may not seem as hopeless as it may appear. What do you mean, Jingles? Here, look at the view screen. This movie may help you to see the error of your own ways, as well as Cousin Bunsen.
Have you ever been as angry as Susan seems to be right now? Do you remember how quickly it happened? Right in the middle of a game, just when you were having a lot of fun. And how you wished, as Paul does, that you could take your anger out on the person who made you angry.
Oh, no!
And have you too felt like throwing things or breaking them? As Carol does, because she's angry at her sister Susan and at Priscilla. Everyone gets angry now and then, and feels like destroying or hitting something, as Eddie is doing. Feeling angry is a natural thing, just as natural as feeling glad or sorry. But angry feelings are disagreeable. They make you act and look as well as feel unhappy. But let's go back and see what made these boys and girls angry. Then maybe we can better understand what happens to us when we get angry. It all started in the park when Susan and her sister Carol and their friend Priscilla were having a good time jumping rope.
You missed! I didn't! I said I didn't! I saw you! It's not your turn anymore! It's Priscilla's turn now! You take her in! I will not! You stopped turning and made me miss on purpose. My turn. It isn't Priscilla's.
The argument with Carol made Susan very angry. We all have arguments once in a while, and it's natural to get angry. And so, when Carol refused to give in, Susan quit the game and went home. Susan nestled down on the soft couch and tried to forget her anger. But somehow her feelings of anger didn't go away, and Susan could not read or think of anything she wanted to do. The trouble was that Sue's anger was still bottled up inside of her. She felt as though she were bursting with unhappiness. How could she get rid of her anger? Let's listen to what she has to say to Carol.
Susan, may I borrow your tennis racket? I want to play with Priscilla. No, you can't use anything of mine. Not ever. I'm so mad at you.
What's the matter with you?
She's angry because she couldn't have her way when we were playing jump rope. She didn't play fair.
Oh, now, wait a minute. Let's talk it over. Susan, tell me all about it.
Gradually, Susan is getting rid of her anger. Angry feelings should be gotten rid of one way or another, but always without hurting someone else. Let's leave Susan and her family now and see what made Paul angry and what happened to him.
Boy, I bet this plane will fly for 5 minutes. Better fly longer than Pete's. Hey, careful there, Eddie. Don't break it. That's Pete. Boy, wait till Pete gets here. We can take him out and fly him all around.
Hi.
Oh, hi, Pete. Look at the planes. Aren't they wonderful? Come on, let's go.
I'm not going to fly planes today. I'm going to play ball.
But you said we'd fly our planes.
I said I would, but I changed my mind. Besides that, Jack said I could play first base. We can fly planes tomorrow.
You're a heck of a guy. First you promise, then you break your promise.
Oh, so what?
That's a dirty trick.
The broken promise and disappointment have made Paul furiously angry. Things like this happen to all of us, and we're pretty likely to get angry. For a moment, Paul stopped and thought about going to the gym, where he hears Mr. Jackson working with a punching bag. But then he decided he didn't feel like going to the gym or like watching Mr. Jackson. So he went home. Like Susan, Paul wished he could forget his anger. But the more he thought about Pete, the angrier he got. You can see he didn't feel much like playing baseball. Nothing seemed like fun. The anger was still in him. He felt thoroughly upset. Perhaps we can understand better how Paul felt if we understand what happens to all of us when we get angry. It's as if suddenly many parts of our body work harder and faster. We feel great excitement. Hearts beat faster, and the blood seems to rush quicker through the body. Sometimes a lot of blood rushes to the head. Our face gets flushed. Sometimes blood rushes to the stomach. Anger makes us feel sick all over. Sometimes we clench our fists or bite our nails. Often we feel as though we were like kettles filled with steam. The angrier we get, the stronger the pressure inside of us. Like the kettles, we must find some way to let the pressure out. When Susan got angry at Carol in the park, she got all stirred up inside. And when Paul got angry at his friend Pete, he too felt as though he were boiling over with anger. But when Susan went home, she didn't let her anger out. And Paul made the same mistake. You can see that Susan and Paul would have felt better if they had found a good way to let the steam off sooner. Because it is important to let out our angry feelings, let's think of some different ways of getting rid of them. One way would have been for Susan to tell Carol right away that she was furious at her. Then she might have gone on turning the rope and waiting for her turn to jump. Perhaps Susan would have jumped so hard that she could have jumped higher and better than she ever had, and the girls would have admired her for doing so well. Or Susan could have looked for her mother as soon as she came home and told her all about her trouble. Talking difficulties over with friends, parents, homeroom teachers, or the coach are good ways to get rid of anger. If Susan had tried any of these ways, she would have let her anger out and pleasant feelings would gradually have returned. Susan then would have soon forgotten her troubles and gone on playing. Now, let's see what Paul might have done to get rid of his anger. When he passed by the gym, he might have entered. And then...
Hi, Mr. Jackson.
Hi, Paul. Boy, it sure feels good to get the old muscles loosened up again. But I thought you were going to be flying your model plane this afternoon.
We were, but Pete ditched me.
Well, how'd that happen?
We were just about to fly our planes when Pete decided to play baseball.
Baseball. Here, Paul, you want to hit the bag?
Had Paul started talking to Mr. Jackson as soon as Pete left him, or even decided to punch the bag, his disappointment and anger would have dissolved, and he would have begun to feel better right then. Perhaps as Paul pounded the bag, he might have thought it was Pete. Every swing was a swing at Pete. Do you think that would have helped Paul get rid of his anger? Anyhow, with his feelings taken out on the punching bag, Paul may have found that he wasn't angry anymore. That evening, Pete telephoned Paul to apologize for changing plans without talking first with Paul. He knew that he'd been wrong. When Paul told him how angry he'd been, Pete asked if he could come right over and work with Paul on their airplanes. So they had a good time together after all. There are other ways, too, of getting rid of anger. For instance, see what Eddie is doing? He is getting rid of his anger by drawing a picture of his aunt, who a few hours before had scolded him. His mother isn't home yet, so he can't talk to her, but he can make a funny picture of his aunt, and that makes him feel better. He's having so much fun drawing the picture that he forgets all about his anger. Perhaps you, like Carol, can imagine dreaming up a story about animals or people that would help you get the anger out of your system. All these are good ways to get rid of anger. They free us so that we can start having fun again. You see, the important thing is to let out our anger in some active way, by running, or jumping, or hitting the punching bag. But we must be sure that we don't hurt or make others angry. Because if we remember what happens inside of us when we get angry, we'll be more careful about making others angry. And perhaps, too, when we get angry, we'll think of the best ways to work our anger out of our system. Can you remember some of the good ways that helped Susan and Paul get rid of their anger? What would you have done if you'd been Paul or Susan?
Jingles, I never should have let my temper get out of control. It's important to let off some steam, but I never should have done that. I also should not have vented towards you as I did. Can you forgive me, my friend? Of course I can, Lazar. That's what friends do. You learned an important lesson. I'm just happy that I was able to help you see that anger can be controlled. Now I do know how. Thank you, Jingles. There are many ways to let out anger, constructive ways that don't hurt other people. I just wish that Bunsen had been more courteous towards me. Canceling like that at the last minute was so inconsiderate. I'd been looking forward to his visit for a long time. Now I won't even get to see him for who knows how long. Not so, my friend. There are ways of handling situations like this. Together, we'll find a way to help you see your cousin and let him enjoy his music as well. What do you mean, Jingles? Look at the view screen. This movie should help us find the answer you are looking for.
Hello? Yes, this is Mary. Oh, hello, Frank. What? You do? Well, just a minute. I better ask. That was Frank Roberts. He wants me to go to a dance with him tomorrow night, out at the lake.
What do you think, dear?
Well, we all feel that Mary is still a little young to go out in the evening, especially so far out of town.
That's right. Sorry, Mary, but I'm afraid the answer has to be no.
Does anything like this ever happen in your home, in your family? When it does, what is the usual reaction? Suppose, for instance, you were in Mary's place. What do you think she should do next? Should she do this?
Hello, Frank? The family says no, so I guess our date's off. I'm sorry. Goodbye.
You've just seen one way to meet an everyday situation. Was it the best way? Or should Mary do this when her father says,
Sorry, Mary, but I'm afraid the answer has to be no.
Okay, Dad. I'll call it off. Say, how would this be? Why couldn't I have Frank and the gang over here tomorrow night? We could all play the radio and dance and make sandwiches.
Hey, that would be swell.
It sure would.
It sounds fine to me.
Absolutely. You go right ahead, Mary.
Oh, thanks, everybody. I'll tell them right away.
that was method number 2. Here's a third possibility.
Can't I go, Daddy, please? I want to so much.
Sorry, Mary, but it's all settled.
I just knew this family wants all. I'm dead.
That was method number 3. Here's number 4. Watch what Mary does this time.
Sorry, Mary.
Okay, Dad. Hello, Frank. Listen, the family says no, but I'll sneak out tomorrow night and meet you anyway. Okay? Swell. See you tomorrow night.
In your opinion, did Mary do right in scene 1? Scene 2? Scene 3? Scene 4? If so, or if not, why? Now are you ready for the next family scene? Here we go. Watch carefully everything that happens as Mary and Bill and George and their parents finish supper.
Well, who's going to help me do the dishes tonight?
Why, I'd like to, Mother, but I've got so much homework.
How about you giving me a hand for a change, Howard?
Me, I should say not. I've got to read my paper. Let Bill do it.
Some other time, Mother. Some of the fellows are waiting for me down at the corner.
Here, I'll help, Mother. And it's my opinion that if everyone in the family would lend a hand once in a while, we'd get the work done that much quicker. Then we could all go out afterwards and do anything we wanted to.
Which type of answer do you think is best? One like Mary's? Father's? Bill's? George's? Or an entirely different one? Why? Next, suppose we look at another very familiar family situation. This one always takes place late at night. Young Bill has been downtown spending the evening with friends. He was supposed to get home around 11, but as you can see, it's going on 1. Bill's almost 2 hours late. Uh-oh, Father's awake, so what should Bill do and say now? Here's possibility number 1.
What kept you, son?
It was like this. You see, Skinny tripped and twisted his ankle, and we had to carry him to the hospital. Well, I don't mean we carried him. We took him there in a car. Well, it wasn't exactly a car. It was more like a wagon.
Are you sure you're telling the truth, Bill?
Of course I'm telling the truth. The trouble with this family is nobody ever believes me.
That's one way to meet a problem. Here's another way.
Where were you, Bill?
It's none of your business. I'm not a kid anymore. I'm old enough to take care of myself.
Now listen,
and beginning now, that's just what I'm going to do.
Now-
And I'd like to see you or anyone else try to stop me.
Now look at possibility number 3.
What kept you, Bill?
Oh, sorry, Dad. I was fooling around with the gang, and it was 12:30 before I realized it.
You know what we all agreed on, don't you?
Yeah, anyone who comes in late can't go out again for a week.
That's right. It's too bad, but...
Oh, that's all right. It was my fault. Good night.
Good night, Bill.
Using the Johnson family for illustration, you've seen several possible ways of meeting typical problems that affect every family group, including your own. Remember what these problems are? There are 3 of them, and we'll review them for you briefly. In your opinion, what should happen when an invitation is received by telephone or otherwise? What is a good course of action when it's time to do the family housework? What procedure do you recommend when someone comes home late?
Questions like these are kind of tough to answer in any family. Suppose we hear what you have to say about them, okay?
You're absolutely right, George. Most family problems can be solved through frank and friendly discussion, which points the way to a happy family life.
Of course, Jingles. Thank you. I now know what to do. Bunsen wants to listen to music. I want to go to the beach. All I have to do is call up my cousin, ask him if he wants to bring his music and his friends to the beach with us. Then we'll both get what we want, and we can all enjoy the music together. Lazar, through reason, your anger has been dealt with. Through reason, you've also found the solution to your problem. A calm head, patience, and understanding will always help you find a solution to whatever problems in life present themselves. Remember this in the future, my friend. Nothing is impossible. Thank you, Jingles. You have really helped me out today. I hope someday I can do the same for you. I need to go call Bunsen before he leaves and see if he wants to bring his friends to the beach. I'm sure he will. He loves the beach. I'll see you later, Jingles. Lazar was angry. Now he's happy. Sometimes all a person needs is a friend to listen to their problems. The next time you see one of your friends in the same state Lazar was in earlier, lend them an ear.
Show me the salt, bozo.
Oh, for heaven's sake, why so rough? Whoops!
Cup of coffee. We want soup. Soup. Okay, soup. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding. Oh. I want mean music, must have mean music. Make it low down, keep it hot. Give it everything you got. Play that mean music, what I mean music. Blew it up and mold it down. Write it down. Get going and keep going low. Just let it and then let it go. Oh, oh, no, not sweet music, must have sweet music. Loosen up that minor key, dirty up that harmony. Run it up, don't keep it clean. I want it low and mean. Just play it Make it low down, keep it hot. Give it everything you've got. Play that mean music, what I mean music. Blow it up and burn it down. Write it down. Get going and keep blowing low. Just let it and then let it go. Oh, oh, no more sweet music, must have sweet music. Loosen up that minor key, dirty up that harmony. Bust it up, don't keep